This week on Channel's Book Club.
Yeah, this is where my father lived since he was 37 years old. When he was going to declare himself as president, it was from that fence he scaled from. And this way he was also buried as well.
One of the children of late Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, who himself is an entrepreneur, writer and linguist, Jamiu Abiola, takes us through the life and times of his late father, billionaire businessman, MKO Abiola, one of the most significant personalities in Nigeria's democratic history. MKO ran for the office of the President of Nigeria in 1993 and presumably won the election that was eventually annulled by the military government back then. Jamiu is the author of the book, The President Who Never Ruled, the true life story of an African self-made billionaire. The book, which focuses on late MKO Abiola, is written in a novel style. It explores how Abiola grew to develop his famous business instincts, how he became politically ambitious, the intricacies of his involvement in the June 12, 1993 election, and how he tried to regain his lost presidential mandate up until his death in custody. Jamiu's book explores the involvement and assassination of Kudirat Abiola, one of the wives of late MKO. To explore the book, the president of business in Nigeria, who is also a literary enthusiast, Gbenga X Adebija, joins Jamiu and I to review it. Now, as divided as people are in defining his legacy, most people seem to agree that MKO Abiola played a critical role in laying the foundation for Nigeria's current democratic republic. Hence, you might just enjoy our time together as we review The President Who Never Ruled. Welcome to the show. I am Olakunle Kasumu. Jamiu, thank you very much. Nice to have you on the Channel's Book Club.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Gbenga, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
The President Who Never Ruled. The true life story of an African self-made billionaire. And this book is about your dad, your late dad.
Yes.
Chief Moshood Kashimawo Abiola.
It's about him.
Before we get started, summarize the book a little bit and tell us why you wrote the book. What inspired you to write the book?
The book is a summary of the life of my father, Chief Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, and the role his life played in Nigeria becoming a democratic country. And the book I made it like a novel because I don't want to write a book that's like a history book, because nowadays people are more interested in reading books in forms of novels, so it's interesting. People, when you talk about history, they will say, oh, it's boring. I want something that is easy for people to understand, something that is fun to read. That way, I achieve two objectives. The first one is to give them knowledge that is very, very crucial. And the second one is to make it interesting for them to actually acquire that knowledge so that they are looking forward to it. So the book is about my father from when he was born to when he died. Everything that I know of, I summarized it. I didn't go into every single detail, but most of the most important details are in that book. And I did it so that people can actually have a role model if they choose to have him as one. And the reason why I decided to write this book was because I know that in Africa, we have a problem of history. We don't write history. We don't even know our history. A lot of times what we learn is what somebody came here from Europe and wrote about us. We now say, oh, this is what happened. We want to look at history from our own perspective. That's another reason why I wrote this book. Because history, if you don't actually write it and you don't document it, it now becomes vulnerable to all sorts of things. And as the saying goes, you repeat a lie over and over again, it becomes the truth. Because perception is greater than reality. So I wanted to put the facts. That way, once the facts are on the ground, there's no perception, and then all we have is reality.
One of the impressions I had already in this book is that you don't feel your father has been properly placed in Nigeria's democratic history. You feel he has not been honored enough by Nigeria. I had that sense while reading the book. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And that is actually very, very troubling because apart from a personal perspective of not being honored, like my father, my mother, like Kudrat Abiola, I also feel it's actually even counterproductive for the future of this country because Nigeria now, more than ever, needs heroes to be honored because at this point in Nigeria's history, Nigeria needs people to sacrifice, people to do things that are unusual. You know, all Nigeria has been depending on for the past 30 years is oil. And as we know, the price of oil is going down. And even if it's not even going down, there are also alternative sources of energy. So Nigeria will need something that is stronger than material to hold the country together. And that is where values come in.
Okay, come back to you. Now, Benga, you've read this book.
Yes, I have.
I was surprised you read it so fast.
I'm a fast reader.
I asked you to read it one day and then it's following day you had finished. Now, what's your impression of the book? What do you think about the president who never...
It's a very compelling book. In the first place, the style in which it was written, very easy, very reader-friendly. And so because of that, you don't have to wade through tons and tons of data and all kinds of things before you can get the key aspects of the book. And also the author is very wise enough to avoid the kind of traps that books of this genre typically have. I was looking out for the possibility of the author trying to depict his father as a Superman, as a superhero. That didn't happen. MKO was presented as a man just like us, a man who had his strengths, had his weaknesses, had his flaws. And so it was easier to empathize with MKO. There's a greater resonance with the subject matter of the book, MKO, and also with all the key messages that the author was trying to pass within the book. So all of this makes it a very compelling book for the reader.